Hi friends, a very pleasant good evening and welcome to Oliveboard. I hope all of you are doing great. Again, we are back with a live session wherein we are going to be dealing with the common mistakes that the candidates make while preparing for RBI Grade B 2023. Right, so we'll be starting the session in a minute. I hope all of you have been studying properly, and we did take a session wherein we put out a detailed plan for the next 15 days. That means May 3rd week and May 4th week. I hope you guys have been following that particular timetable. Good evening. I can see the students there. Hi, good evening. I hope you guys have been preparing well. We'll start the session in a minute. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat section if everything is fine. You can hear me properly, you can see me properly, and we'll quickly be starting off with the session. So today it's going to be a very quick session wherein we will see the common mistakes that we usually make while preparing RBI Grade B 2023. And I want each one of you to make sure that you are avoiding this mistake. Because usually what happens is we take these things lightly, but then we realize after the examination that this was something which was very important. I can see some of you are facing time management issues due to being a working professional. Don't worry, we will sort that out as well. Okay, fine. What we will do is we'll begin with the session, and the students can join in as and when they get in to the session, right? So I'll start the session without further delay. Okay, fine. Let me just start with the first pointer here. So the 10 common mistakes, I've clubbed the major queries that the students usually have and the confusion that goes on in the minds of these students into this particular session. And at the end of the session, what we can do is we can just quickly have a look at some of the doubts that you guys have with respect to the examination, right? Okay, so let's start here. The mistake which commonly all the aspirants make, the first point that you can see on your screen here is spending too much time in preparing for one section only. Okay, so I'll tell you the reason what happens and why students do this mistake is if you feel that you're not confident in, say, quantitative aptitude or reasoning, or for that matter English, you're so worried about the fact that you might not be able to clear the sectional cutoff, you keep practicing that subject n number of times. You start solving too many questions from that particular subject, and for that is a very big mistake, because you need to know how much efforts one needs to put in, right? If you keep preparing quantitative aptitude for, say, 2 hours per day every day without doing any other thing, you might have a feeling that I'm preparing for quantitative aptitude. But do you know that out of 200 we just have 30 marks which is for quantitative aptitude, and out of those 30 marks also there's a high chance that the questions are of high difficulty level, or there is a lot of unpredictability when you talk about quantitative aptitude. So if you keep sitting and practicing daily quantitative aptitude to make sure that you don't lose out on the sectional cutoff, then this is a big no-no, because your primary goal of clearing the examination, of pushing your score through a minimum mark, is not being met, right? There is no mistake if you sit back and put up a smart plan for those sections in which you feel you are weak. That is perfectly fine. That you might not be very good in reasoning, so you want to make sure you're not losing out on the sectional cutoff, and you prepare a plan for that. You understand what are the questions that are important, what are the areas that you guys can master, and then very cleverly practice those questions and make sure you don't fall or you don't falter because of the sectional cutoff. That is the right approach. And the incorrect approach would be to daily spend hours and hours to master that particular section. Fine. And this is done mainly by students who have a background of preparing for other examinations like SBI PO or IBPS PO. They usually do this, right? So please avoid this particular mistake if you're preparing for RBI Grade B examination. Now let me move on to the second mistake that is most commonly done by the students. Here you start preparing for the examination and you start giving mock tests without having any strategy. This is a very common mistake because this is how usually many students approach the examination. I've seen them that they start covering the syllabus, they start solving the mock test without having in mind what is the ideal way to clear the examination. Fine. Let me give you an example here. Now, if you start attempting the mock test, before attempting, you should have a plan in your mind. You should think that you're attempting the actual examination, the D-Day is there, and you're attempting the exam as you would do on that particular day, right? So what happens is you should have a strategy like, in GA section, I would be attempting so and so many number of questions. In English section, I would attempt say X number of questions. In quantitative aptitude, I would attempt Y. In reasoning, I would attempt Z. So these are the number of questions that you should have in your mind before you are attempting the mock test. Why? Because this is a part of your strategy. You should know what is the sectional cutoff, probably based on the previous years. You should know which is your strength. If you are going ahead with GA section plus say English section, if you have watched my previous videos wherein we discuss a lot about how one can clear RBI Grade B phase 1, we have a funda wherein you need to select one section along with the GA section as your master or a super section. Few of you select reasoning or few of you can select English. Quantitative aptitude is not advisable. So you should be prepared with which is going to be your section along with GA, and then you need to accordingly attempt the mock test to see if you're able to perform that well. Fine. You need to analyze your strength and weakness. You should know that, okay, the paper is tough. While attempting the mock test, there are various difficulty levels that we provide, right? The paper can be easy, it can be medium, it can be tough. So while attempting the paper, what happens is you would realize that, okay, this is the difficulty level of the paper and I am able to score, say, X marks in quantitative aptitude section, say Y mark in reasoning section. So this is how each and every mock test needs to be planned. Without planning, please don't study, because you will keep giving your test and you will realize that you're not improving day by day. Fine. So I hope this particular point is clear, that without having a perfect strategy, please don't start your preparation, neither attempt any mock test. Fine. Okay, and if you think you are not confident with the strategy part, you can have a look at the videos that we have taken, be it the 15-day study plan, be it how to score 55 plus marks in general awareness, or how to have a 60-day study plan. So everything is there. You can refer that and you will be in full confidence as to how to create a strategy. Fine. Now coming to mistake number 3, the commonly made mistake here is practicing less and watching more number of videos or concept videos or live lectures for the QRE section. Now I'll tell you why I consider this as the common mistake. See, it's very important for you to understand the concepts. That's the basic thing, right? Like if I'm not confident in a particular topic, in reasoning for example, I would definitely watch a live class or a concept video, recorded video of that particular topic, right? But few times what happens is we do get into a loop wherein we are again and again just continuously watching such videos and we forget to put that in practice. We are always having in our mind, ki, okay, no problem, let me watch one more video, let me watch one more video. You think you are understanding, but QRE are such kind of sections that you need to attempt the questions to find out if you're actually understanding the concepts there. There comes a very big problem. If you're not doing it, there is a major concern in your strategy. Fine. So please don't waste time in watching multiple number of videos. Instead of that, for a particular topic, watch 1 or 2 video, understand the basic concept and try solving questions based on that particular topic. And specifically, if you're a working professional and if you're doing this mistake, you need to rectify. You already have less time and you need to utilize your time in an efficient manner. So I don't want you to make this kind of a mistake there. Okay, fine. I hope these 3 mistakes that we have discussed is clear, because it's very commonly done by the aspirants and you don't realize that you're committing these mistakes. That's the whole point here. Okay, fine. Mistake number 4. current affairs preparation, more sources. Okay, so I get a lot of queries even when I'm taking the super mentor sessions or when I'm talking to students in general. This is a very common query among the aspirants. Do we need to refer to any other sources for current affairs preparation? I understand it's very genuine. We need to do our best. We need to make sure that we are not faltering on missing out on some coverage or some news articles, but just hold yourself back, because quantity is not important, but quality is very important. Okay, and I see students nowadays have started to focus on quantity. Like, you feel if you have studied 5 different things, you'll be able to answer the paper well. That is not the whole point. You need to retain whatever you're reading, because you are doing multiple months there, right? You are doing government schemes, you're doing RBI notifications. There are many things that you're working on. So it's not practically possible for you to keep referring multiple sources for the same things. Don't do that. We have so many open things available, open source information. We have free books or PDFs, etc. See, it is a very big advantage. I agree to that. But at the same time, it can also cause big confusion in your minds. You can also get confused very easily. So that's where you need to stop. You need to draw a line for yourself. Ki, okay, for example, if you're not satisfied with one source, you can just refer 2, but not more than 2. If you keep confusing yourself with multiple sources, you're going to be wasting time, and at the end you will realize that you're not able to retain information. It's very important for you to solve the questions in the paper rather than just keep on reading without knowing if you're retaining those things. Okay, so the most commonly made mistake, point number 4, is focus on quality, okay, and not on quantity, because retention then becomes a problem, which again will not solve our purpose of scoring well. Okay, fine. The next mistake that most of these students make, mistake number 5 here, is preparing for phase 1 and phase 2 current affairs separately. Again, very common here, because we don't know about the need of the examination. At this point, if you're somebody who's watching my session for the first time, I would recommend you to go ahead and watch a video wherein we were discussing how to score 55 plus out of 80 in the GA section, right? In that particular video, it was very clear that in phase 1, out of 80 marks, nearly 30 to 35 marks questions are from phase 2 level current affairs. Understand this point here. Okay, so when you are attempting those 80 questions which are present as part of your phase 1 RBI Grade B examination, nearly 30-35 questions, when you read them, you'll realize they are not just phase 1 level questions, but they are related to phase 2 level current affairs. So you will have to study or prepare for phase 1 and phase 2 simultaneously. This is one point, and the other thing is the gap between phase 1 and phase 2 of RBI Grade B is just nearly 20-21 days. So we cannot sit back and think once we clear phase 1, we will take care of phase 2 current affairs preparation. That's not how it works. So in case you are somebody who is doing this mistake, rectify this mistake then and there, because we still have time in our hands. And that is why we have brought out this live session, because there are days to come. If you rectify these mistakes today, it will help you in the coming days during your preparation, right? So these are the 5 mistakes. Let's move on to the 6th one. Okay, the 6th one is again related to current affairs. So current affairs preparation, focus on covering more rather than revision. Again, this is a very common point that I just mentioned. I have seen students trying to cover months after months and they forget to add revision. Now, let me tell you one very important point. For example, if you have completed the month of Feb and you are starting the month of March, I would advise you take a day or at least a few hours and revise Feb first again before proceeding to March. The same thing you need to do when you are moving to cover April month current affairs. You need to revise Feb once, revise March once, and then move on to April. I understand you feel like let's cover quickly, let's keep covering Feb, March, April, May very quickly. That happens usually because of the lack of time and because you feel there is so much to cover. You keep jumping from one to the other. But between those jumps, revision is very important, which we usually keep it for the last. Don't keep it for the last. Because if you start keeping everything for the last, thinking in the last 7 days I'll revise, that time you will feel it is not a revision. It's going to become a one time or a second time read again. You will invest more time and you will feel disappointed. This point is very important, friends, and that's why I'm emphasizing it again. For example, if you are studying in a week, there are 7 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I would recommend that after every 3 days, you at least need to take some time out and put it for revision. That can be 1 hour, 2 hours, some extra number of hours apart from the study plan that we have shared with you. This is a very small point that you're thinking right now, but this will create a lot of difference, because once the month of May is over, you will realize, let's start revising. For example, I'm just telling you in the month of say June mid, you take a call ki now I will revise. Trust me, once you are here and you start revising, you will feel as if everything is new. And you will start putting in more number of hours to complete the same thing that you have already done before in the month of May. This happens because you're going to be reading a lot of stuff here. So this is a gross mistake. Don't make this mistake. After every 3 days, put up a timetable for revision. Take 3 hours, 2 hours extra time for revision. Fine, I can't emphasize this point further, but if you're listening to this lecture, you will have to rectify in case you're doing this mistake of pushing everything to the end for revising. No, revision will take place simultaneously. New thing, revise. New thing, revise. That's how you need to study. Okay? The next thing is mistake number 7. Fine? Now again, this is kind of a attitude that we have, and that's okay because we usually see exams happening in phases and we treat each phase as a stepping stone, and we feel that we have progressed further if we do phase 1 now and phase 2 the next time. But let me tell you, preparing only for phase 1 and keeping phase 2 preparations for later stage, this is a very common mistake, and you have this notion in mind. Let me clear phase 1 this time. We will see phase 2 later, either after the results of phase 1 or maybe next cycle. Now let me be very clear. You passing the phase 1 has nothing to do, or it does not give you a guarantee that next year again you will pass phase 1. Have that notion in mind. This is not a continuous process wherein this year you will pass phase 1 and the next year you will start from phase 2. No, you're anyways going to start from phase 1. And every year, obviously the GA would change. The quant, reasoning, English, the type of questions also changes. But okay, even if I give you the benefit of doubt that you have practiced enough for QRE and you're confident that this year I've cleared, next year also I'll clear QRE because my concepts are clear. I'll give those pointers to you. Fine. What about the general awareness section? You have 80 marks out of 200 from general awareness. And now if you think that, okay, fine, I will proceed with the phase 1 and next year I will work for phase 2, it doesn't work like that. That's not feasible. Who will give us the guarantee that you're going to pass phase 1 next year again, because the GA is going to be entirely different, right? So you should not have this mind space wherein this year step by step I'll take care of phase 1, next year I'll take care of phase 2. The mindset needs to change. Whenever you think about RBI Grade B preparation, it should be a simultaneous preparation, phase 1, phase 2. Okay, interview, I would still say we do take care of it later because we have a lot of time and we can structure it accordingly. You have already been reading a lot of stuff. We just need to have some practice there, which we are there for you. Fine. And the second most important point, again repeating myself, the number of days between phase 1, phase 2 is very less. So practically not possible. You can't say ki I'll clear phase 1 first and then I'll see the result, I'll wait for the result and then I'll do phase 2. The difference between the number of days between the result being declared and your phase 2 examination is just going to be 8-10 days, 15 days, sorry, 2 weeks of time. Okay, and sometime it can also drop to just 12 days. So how are you going to manage in those 12 days? Fine. So now it is the right time. Please go back and see the 15-day study plan which I have taken, how to prepare from 16th of May till 31st. Okay, today also it is just 18th. So in case if you are somebody who has missed out or you feel you are directionless in your preparation, I would recommend go and have a look at that video. Get a grip, get a hold on your preparation right now. Fine, this is not the time to go down. Okay, now coming to mistake number 8, which is a very common mistake again. Waiting to complete the syllabus first and then planning to start descriptive answer writing practice. Very common one. Again, all these are very common mistakes actually. I know most of you who are watching this session, or maybe you will watch it later, when you see this point, you can relate to what I'm trying to say. We have this fear of starting something. There's always a fear of starting something, right? If you're somebody who hasn't practiced descriptive answer writing or so, there is this tendency that you never write that first answer. You never take that first step. And what is the excuse of not taking that step? I don't know much. I'll have to complete the syllabus first, right? If I don't complete the syllabus, how will I be able to write? Okay, practically that point makes some logic here, but you should understand there's not going to be a day wherein you can say I've completed 100% of the syllabus. That's not going to happen, and we don't want that to happen also. Fine. So what I want you to do is, even if you have read say a single chapter or 2 chapters, gather that courage and write one answer. You will have to start practicing descriptive answer writing. You still have the month of May. Okay, if I am taking this session in the mid of June, I would not have been giving you this advice of practicing something even now. Fine, we do have ample amount of time. Utilize it to your best potential. And in the 15-day study plan that I have taken, I have also shared 4 descriptive questions. So in case you're somebody who's thinking I don't have any question to write, you can go and look at those questions. Plus, even on our app, you will have free descriptive tab which is present in your dashboard. Okay, there also we have 100 questions that are there. We had a series last year wherein we guided students with descriptive questions that are also available there as a free resource. You can check those questions if you want to attempt. Okay, so in case if you are somebody who hasn't started yet and this is your excuse, this is not a valid excuse, because descriptive answer writing needs practice, needs structuring of an answer. It has nothing to do with how much knowledge you have. Obviously, you need valid points to be written, but I would still say a few valid points would do the job for you, because now you're practicing how to structure your answer. You need to practice your structuring. You need to practice how to give a proper flow to your thoughts. You will have thousands of points, hundreds of points, 10 points when I talk about a topic. Do you know how to structure that answer? That is where you need to learn. Okay. The next thing is mistake number 9 that we are going to be discussing here. Doing a PhD in phase 2 topics and not understanding the exam requirements. Again, many of you, I have seen this, you should know where to stop. If you're reading something, obviously it interests you, it's good, right? You can go in depth, you can take all the time, but right now we don't have the time. Fine. So don't try and master a particular subject or a topic. That is not the right approach. You should know right now what is our aim, what is our goal? To clear RBI Grade B phase 1. Fine. Nobody is going to ask you how much you know. Those things will be reflected when you appear for phase 2, when you appear for interview, right? So don't sit and keep studying a single topic for days and try to learn each and everything which is present there. That is not required. That is why you guys have to see the previous year papers, PYQ. We have also started a series on YT on our YouTube channel, wherein we'll be taking previous year questions. Plus, there are also ample number of videos on previous year questions already there on the YT channel. Have a look at those questions. Understand, okay, so this is the kind of questions that they usually ask. Okay, so this is how things are going to be. Then you will realize where to stop. Fine. The mentorship students who get enrolled with us, whenever I have the super mentor session with them, the first thing, or I would say the first homework that I give them is they will have to watch the previous year questions. They'll have to be confident with the previous year questions. Only then we'll be able to guide them in a sufficient manner. Fine. So I hope you have understood this particular point. Now coming to the last point that you can see on your screen, which is again a common one. Studying for hours, days and postponing the mock tests. We will do it once I'm done with the complete syllabus. I'm not prepared now. Not only with descriptive answer writing, I see this happening with the other things as well. Okay. Now, in case you have taken our crash course, you would realize that we have topic tests, we have foundation course test, right? We have sectional tests. There are ample number of tests that are given based on what we know is important for you guys to be prepared with, right? How many of you have actually given those tests? I'm pretty sure you guys are waiting for the right time, thinking, let me cover the syllabus, cover the chapters, keep reading these things, and finally one day I'll sit and give the test. Not at all happening. Okay, if you are a part of the mentorship program that we have, then you also have separate nearly 144 so mentorship tests separately. Now, if you're sitting that once I complete the entire syllabus, I'll start giving the test, that's not cool approach. That is not the right approach. The reason I'm trying to tell, or the main intention behind this is, you need to use the mock tests not as the testing tool, but as a learning tool. This is very important. The only test which is an actual test is going to be the D-Day, when you sit in the examination hall and you submit your paper. That day you're not doing any learning, you're just submitting the paper to crack the examination. That is a test. These tests that you give is a learning experience. Treat it like that. When you give a test, you will realize what are the areas that you are strong in, what are the points that you did not understand, what are the concepts that you did not get right. That is the opportunity for you to learn through the solutions that are given as part of the test. Fine. So that is where you guys are making mistake. If you're sitting back and thinking, I'll solve the test later, a big no-no. Only if you take a test, you will realize where I'm wrong, or what are the areas I don't need to revise only. I'm very, very confident with those areas. Fine. So this is the 10th mistake that we see here. Yeah, actually one of the query that I can see is I have advised to give the tests on Saturdays and Sundays. So do we need to give it regularly? No, you don't have to give it regularly. When I say don't postpone the test, I am trying to say that few of you have not even given tests. You have bundled everything up aside. You're just studying day by day, and you have forgotten that you need to test yourself. You need to learn from giving the tests, by giving the tests. Okay. So I hope I'm clear here. So these are the 10 common mistakes that any aspirants usually make. Okay, now let me do one thing. Just I will take 2 minutes and I will revise these mistakes quickly, and that's the end of the session today. It was a very short session, but 2 minutes of revision here. Firstly, spending too much of time in preparing one section which you feel is your weak point. So you give all your energy to that section without realizing what is the outcome. How much effort is needed and what are you getting in return. This proportionality you should understand. You can't be giving hours and hours for something and in return you're getting 3-4 marks, not doing the job. Be sure you're clearing the sectional cutoff. That is more than enough. Fine. Don't do extra work wherein you know it's not going to give you return. Right? Moving to the quick second mistake. Starting your preparation and also attempting full-length mock test without strategy. So if you're one of my students, by now what you should have done, along with the GA section, you should have selected your super section. Your super section can be between any section from reasoning or English, not quantitative aptitude. So before you attempt any test, you should have the answer which is going to be my super section along with the GA section, with the help of which I'll be clearing my examination. And you should have a thing in mind, how many questions am I going to attempt in section in quantitative aptitude, reasoning, English or GA. If you don't have a strategy in mind, please don't attempt tests. Okay. Then third common mistake I would say is you are watching so many videos and you forget to practice QRE. You have this tendency of watching multiple videos. It gives you somewhere a satisfaction that I am studying this topic, but have you tested yourself? Again, going back to the 10th point, not giving mock tests, it's a blunder. Fine. Current affairs preparations focusing on quantity, not focusing on quality is a common mistake again. Don't increase the number of sources. Concentrate on retention. Concentrate on studying anything that you study properly. That is the key to success. Not studying n number of things and then finally going and having a look in the examination that I'm not able to pick the correct answer. Fine. So that's a common mistake again. Fifth one, preparing for phase 1 and phase 2 current affairs separately. That is not how things work, because if you have watched my video 55 plus, how to score 55 plus marks, out of 80 marks that you have for GA, clearly 30-35 marks questions are based from phase 2 level current affairs. So you will have to study phase 1 and phase 2 simultaneously. Okay. The sixth mistake that I have seen is current affairs preparation. You're not taking revision seriously. You are piling up revision for the end. That is not how things work. You need to keep revising every 3rd or the 6th or the 10th day, not in the last 7 days or last 3-4 days. You will get a panic attack, I'm telling you, because that happens. Don't do that. You will suddenly start realizing, oh my God, I'm not able to remember things. Don't do that to yourself. Fine. Give importance to revision along with preparation. Simultaneously, these two things go hand in hand. Okay. The other mistake is you are postponing things, thinking, okay, phase 1 is my goal, phase 2 we will take care of it later. I gave you a very simple understanding. What is the guarantee if you clear phase 1 this year, you are going to clear phase 1 the next year, because the GA is going to be completely different, right? The level of the questions can vary. Fine. So what you will have to do is have this mindset. When I say RBI Grade B preparation, phase 1, phase 2 together. Not phase 1 now, phase 2 later, we will check later once the results are out. No. How many days are you going to have after the results are out from that till your phase 2 examination? Okay. The next thing is waiting to complete the syllabus and not practicing descriptive answer writing. Again, a very common pain point, starting trouble. As simple as that. These are just excuses. Starting trouble, not having the courage to write the answer. Please come out of that zone. Come out of your comfort zone, start writing one answer. The day you write 5-6 answers, you will see the difference in yourself. Fine. You need to move from that 0 to 5 to 6. Initial few days are disturbing. They give you pain. After that, that becomes a very good thing to do. Okay. The 9th point, doing a PhD in the topics. No, a big no here. You're not required to do a PhD at all. Okay, keep it simple. Understand the PYQ, previous year questions. Put a limit so as to how much you need to study. Okay. And the last mistake that you do is obviously not taking mock test, piling things up, thinking I'll finish the syllabus first, and not treating mock test as a learning tool. You need to treat it as something which will help you to learn. If you go wrong, nobody's sitting and seeing your marks. How will it make a difference in anybody's life, even your life also? If you score a less mark in one of the mock tests that you're giving, how is it going to make a difference? The only thing that's going to make a difference is if you're analyzing that mock test, if you're analyzing your incorrect answers, if you're analyzing those questions that you did not attempt, that will make a difference in your preparation as well as the D-Day that you're going to attempt. Fine? Okay, so these are the 10 major points. One other thing is, I've always seen that, you know, when the examination is near, we do have this fear of things being voluminous and we having less time in our hands to complete the things. So don't worry, we have a solution for you. We have released quick summary notes, okay, for each chapter of ESI Finance and Management. It's a part of both Learn Plan as well as the complete crash course that we have. So you can quickly read those notes in case you're somebody who's missing out on time. You are a working professional, you're feeling it is tough to complete the syllabus. So don't worry, those notes will help you to at least start finishing these topics quickly one by one. Okay, so this is here a new tab which you can find and access these notes. The other thing is voluminous current affairs. Now see, this is a requirement. We do have RBI Bolt that we have released specific for phase 1, okay, phase 1 current affairs. So that is also a bulky document. You have a PDF, downloadable PDF for those who have subscribed to our course. So what we have done is we have also released a summarized version of the Bolt magazine from the month of March, so that it helps you in quick revision. Okay, it helps you to, I would say, keep a pointer kind of a thing. If you're somebody who's into note making, I think don't do that right now. Just go and have a look at the summarized version of March 2023 Bolt. We have kept it open for all, but the other editions would be there only for our subscribed members. Okay. Now we have started on 15th a crash course wherein every day you will have lectures taken for quant, reasoning, for PIB, for economic survey, union budget, RBI Bolt. Okay, all these things are going to be covered. So there are going to be 90 plus live classes, plus we have all kinds of tests, be it topic tests, foundation tests, full length tests, phase 2 tests are there. You have descriptive tests. Everything is there in this particular package. So in case you're looking for assistance, you can have a look at these features here. So this is how your dashboard is going to be looking like, and these are the things that you can find here. These are the classes that are going to be there. We also are covering live mint and PIB separately because these are important sources. We also have government scheme MCQs here. That's going to be helpful for us. We also have phase 1 GA RBI Bolt, right? Okay. Lastly, I would say that we have a Telegram channel which is very specific to regulatory exams. We have been posting free MCQs to solve there. We have been posting mind maps. We have been posting snippets, okay, RBI snippets, and there are other much more important things being shared on in that channel, and the notifications regarding important sessions as well. So I would recommend you guys to just subscribe to that channel, and you'll be able to find those resources there. Plus our YouTube channel wherein I'm taking a live session today. So I have already taken a couple of other sessions related to the strategy part. So you would see much more in the coming days. And one good news is we are starting RBI booster batch on the YouTube channel that we have. Okay, so we will have PIB sessions being taken every morning, which is again going to be very important at 8 a.m. You can see here PIB session by Dinka sir at 8 a.m. We also have important news coverage that's going to be there. Strategy, I'll be taking all the strategy classes, helping you out with coming up with important tips for the exam. We also have phase 1 GA specifically being catered, government scheme specifically being catered. We have quant, reasoning classes, and PYQs is going to be taken by all the faculty members. So this is the RBI booster batch, which is a free YouTube batch, I would say. So you can come here, have a look at these sessions. So it's really going to be helpful for you. Okay. Fine guys, if you really like this video, just press the bell icon, the subscribe button, so that we can know it is of importance to you or you took some value out of this particular session. Okay. For April, the RBI Bolt is already uploaded. The summarized version would be uploaded in a day, don't worry, okay? But the lengthier version, the actual version is there in your RBI Bolt section. Please refer to that. The April Bolt for RBI phase 1, okay? Fine guys. Thank you so much right now, and I would be just drop in your queries in the comment section once the session is over. We'll go and we'll be replying to those comments there. Don't worry about that. Okay. Fine. So these 10 common mistakes, please avoid these mistakes. These might look like simple liners here, but if you start understanding, you are somewhere unknowingly making these mistakes. So if you have spotted any of these mistakes that you have been doing, I would suggest please take a step back and don't commit these mistakes, because we still have time in our hands and we don't want to go on a wrong track. Okay. Thank you so much guys, and catch you later very shortly.